Hi, my name's Katie. I am a professional makeup artist and I am here with makeup tutorials to help you get really good at doing your own makeup. In this video, I will be going over a beginner's makeup kit and a list of things that you should include in that kit. So if that sounds interesting to you, just keep watching. So I wanted to do a video with a list of ingredients, if you will, and tools that you should include in a makeup kit when you are a beginner. So as a beginner in anything, it can be hard to know where to start, and there's no instructions on this kind of stuff. You just kind of learn by watching others as far as makeup goes. So I put together a list of things that, as a beginner, I think would be helpful for you to start playing around and start experimenting with makeup. So I have some examples of those products, but you certainly don't have to use these specific products. These are just some recommendations I have for you. I will put a list in the description box of all of the types of products that you should be looking for, and then I will also link to these that I am recommending so you have some place to start. So we are going to start with talking about skincare. The most important part of getting your makeup to look really good is getting your skin to look really good. Taking care of your skin. So there are bare minimum products that you should make sure that you start with. You should cleanse your skin. So you need a cleanser. You should moisturize your skin, whether it's dry, normal, oily, whatever condition it's in. You should make sure that you are putting moisture back into your skin. This will help it protect it and make it feel and look better against all of the things you have going on in your environment, right? So cleanse, moisturize, and then you need a sunscreen, right? You need to protect your skin from the sun, period. Every day of your life, you need to wear sunscreen. You're not invincible. Your skin will burn no matter what your skin tone is. No matter how light, how dark, anything in between, your skin will burn. You will get skin damage from the sun. So you need to wear a sunscreen every day. Okay, so you need those three things in your skincare routine. That is a great place to start. Once you have that kind of routine down, then you can start playing with different ingredients to treat specific problems that you have. But those are the three things that you should start with for skincare, okay? So I don't have any, I guess I could link a few brands that I like, but as far as what you might like to put in there, then that's up to you. CeraVe is a very good drugstore brand. ELF or ELF, Eyes, Lips, Face, has been coming out with some great skincare. I've been very impressed with their new offerings. They've really upped their game. So that's a good one. Aveeno is a really good one. There's quite a few others out there in the drugstore. When it comes to sunscreen and moisturizer, you will see moisturizers that include sunscreen. You want to make sure that you are using enough of the product to get the sun protection that it claims that you have. That means that you need to use a whole teaspoon just for your face, right? You need to use quite a bit just for your face. If that's too much moisturizer for you to use, if you're using a combination product, then you should use two separate ones so that you can get the protection that you need. That's my opinion on that. Okay, so hopefully that helps you find some place to start. And most of them have travel and trial size, so you can try different things and see which things that you like the best. Okay, so for the makeup, where we are going to start, I'm going to start with the eyes. So I'm just going to go in the order that I usually apply. I usually start with the eyes so that I don't have a lot of cleanup with the rest of the face when I do my eyes. That's just my preference. That's where I start. So for the eyes, this is what you are going to need. You're going to need an eyeshadow palette. I would go with just a palette that has just 3 or 4 colors in it. Don't go too much more than that. Try and stick with neutral colors, right? It's going to be less confusing. It's going to be a little bit more user-friendly. Choose colors that are going to be suited for your skin tone. Some palettes that I have been pretty impressed with that are only $3 a piece, which is incredible, are these by e.l.f. or ELF. Is their bite-size eyeshadow palettes. This is the Cream and Sugar, so this would be good for light to medium skin tones, right? You've got 2 matte shades and you've got 2 shimmer shades to play with there. This is the bite-size eyeshadow in Truffles. Yeah, this would be good for deeper skin tones to get started with, or light medium as well if you want to experiment with darker colors. But you can see you've got some deeper skin tone colors here. You have these 2 are mattes, and then this one here and this one here are shimmers. Yes, that black does have some shimmer in it, just a little bit. Okay, so those are 2 eyeshadow palettes that I would recommend as a base for the eyeshadow. I always recommend an eye primer. It's one of the few primers that I think actually does something. So I think you should always start your eye look with an eye primer. Even if you're just doing a 1 shadow look, use an eye primer. It will help with your under eye concealer, it will help with your brows, it helps your liner stay, all the things. So use an eye primer. These are 2 of the drugstore primers that I would recommend. I know the Milani eyeshadow primer is a very popular one. I personally can't use it. I reacted to it, so oh well. Anyways, these are the 2 that I like. This is the e.l.f. Putty Primer. You can see it's a bit tinted. And then this is the NYX Proof It Waterproof eyeshadow primer. This is a really good one if you have oily lids. It's a little bit tacky. It's really going to help with your oily lids and getting your eyeshadow to stay. So that is a very good option for eye primer. Then next with the eyes, you're going to want some kind of eyeliner pencil, okay? So I have 2 here that I would recommend that you can give a try. We have the Wet n Wild Kohl eyeliner. These are a classic. They've been around a long time. They cost, what, $1 or $2? I would go with a brown or a black to start with. That's going to be the most user-friendly. Like I said, neutral colors are going to be the best place to start to really learn placement and where things should go and how to blend and get something that you like to look at, right? Neutral colors are going to be the best place to start. So a brown or a black. This black one is the NYX Slide On, Glide On, Stay On, and definitely a turn on waterproof extreme shine eyeliner. Wow, what a name. Okay, this is in black. Slide On, Glide On. That's the part that you should remember. These are super soft and really easy to go on. It's easy to smudge if you want to smudge it. They're not hard to apply to the eyelid. You don't need a lot of pressure to get the color payoff that you want. So those are 2 very good options for that. To go with your eyeliner, you need a sharpener. You should sharpen your pencils every single time you use them. Okay, 2-3 turns to get the top layer off is not going to use up a ton of the product, so you don't need to worry about being wasteful. It's going to be very much more sanitary. Sharpening your pencils every single time you use them. You'll take off a coating of whatever has settled onto your pencil after the last time you used it, and you'll get a nice fresh point on it as well. So make sure that you get a sharpener to go with your pencils. And then the last product that you need is going to be a mascara. The drugstore has some really great mascaras, right? Try as many as you want. You will find something that you like. There's so many different types of brushes out there, types of formulas, different colors. There's a lot to choose from. So, two here that I like. I really like the L'Oreal ones. I really like the CoverGirl Exhibitionist, which is this one. This one is in black. It has a nice hourglass shaped wand. You can see that. There you go. That is very good for any length of lashes. As you can see by looking at me, I don't have a lot of eyelash. My eyelashes are very, very short, kind of wispy. So it's very hard to get them to see, but I can't use big brushes because they just don't catch the lashes. There's not enough lash there. So the brush is really important to me. If you, like me, have very short lashes, this one is a really good one. This is the Maybelline Lash Discovery Mini Brush Mascara. Okay. It's a very tiny wand. Can you see that? Let me show you compared to the other wand here. See the size difference in that? That teeny tiny wand is really gonna help you get into your really short lashes. So like the bottom lashes that tend to be a lot shorter, if you're like me and you have really short lashes all over, that is really gonna help you be able to get in there and get all of your lashes. So those are two really good choices there. So for eye products, we had an eyeshadow quad or trio, so a 3-color palette or a 4-color palette of your choice, whichever ones you would like. An eye pencil, you need an eye primer, you need a sharpener to go with your pencil, and you need a mascara, okay? And then that's the eyes. That's what you need for the eyes. I'll get into the tools that you need for application at the end, but you will need some tools for application because as you noticed, these palettes don't come with any kind of applicator. It's just the colors, so you need some way to apply it, right? Some people like to use their fingers, but I have some recommendations on brushes as well. We'll get to those at the end. So after the eyes, I usually do the complexion. So by complexion, I mean foundation, concealer, whichever combination I need that day. So for a beginner, I would recommend a tinted moisturizer. Now there are a lot of them out there that you can get. I personally am highly sensitive to some sunscreen. There's only certain ingredients that I can use for sunscreen, and so I avoid any tinted moisturizer that has sunscreen in it because they almost always have ingredients that I can't use. I'll have an allergic reaction, yay. Anyways, this is a tinted face gel tinted moisturizer that I really like. This is the Pixi H2O Skin Tint. This is a really nice tinted moisturizer. It's going to be sheer coverage, right? But it will even things out, even out any redness. That's what I have on right now. This is a really good one, and I would definitely recommend a sheer coverage when you are a beginner. For another option for foundation would be a powder foundation. It's different than like a setting or a finishing powder, right? It's going to have more pigment in it, and it's a little bit different of a formula that's going to sit on the skin a little bit differently. This is going to be really good for those of you with oily skin. This is the L'Oreal Age Perfect Creamy Powder Foundation, right? Looks like that. Comes with an applicator, a little sponge that you can use to apply it. Now you can use the tinted moisturizer and the powder together, or either of them by themselves. So that's a good option for foundation. The next product for the complexion would be concealer. So this is going to cover any spots that are not covered by that sheer coverage foundation. Right? So if you have some acne spots, if you've got some dark circles, whatever it is, if you've got rosacea like me and you need a little bit more coverage on the redness, this concealer is going to help you. This one is a really good one. It's the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Multi-Use Concealer. It's this guy here. You can see I do like it. It's moved down quite a bit. It's got its own applicator here on the sponge tip. This is the color 100 Ivory. It's like the lightest one they have because I'm pale, but this is a good one, a good concealer to use. It's a sheerer concealer. So the difference between a foundation and a concealer is going to be the amount of pigment that is in the formula. Concealers, whether they're a sheer coverage concealer or a full coverage concealer, are going to have more concentration of pigment than a foundation. Again, whether it's sheer or full coverage foundation. You're going to have more concentration of pigment in a concealer than you will in a foundation. So that's what the difference is. As far as colors that you should pick, you should try and pick a foundation color that closely matches your skin tone. That's another reason why I suggest a sheer formula, because it will be easier for you to find a good match in a sheer formula because there's more forgiveness, right? Your skin shines through a little bit more. So you'll be able to find a little bit better match. For the concealer, you either want to go the exact same shade as your skin or just a touch lighter, right? Not too much lighter, not a whole lot lighter, not darker. You want to go the same shade as your skin tone or just a touch lighter. Hope that makes sense. So for the complexion, you have your foundation, either a tinted moisturizer and a powder, or either or, and a concealer. So that's what you need for your complexion, right? Really easy. As far as tools for that, you can use the sponge applicator that comes with the powder. For the tinted moisturizer and the concealer, you can just use your good old fingers. So it's very easy to apply. Next up, we have eyebrows. That's the next thing that I do in my routine. So for beginners, you can use, if you're good with a brush, you can use your palette, one of your colors in your palette that matches. Like if I had these two palettes, I would use this color right here to color in my brows with a liner brush, which again, I'll get into the tools later. So that's an option for your eyebrows if you need to fill them in at all. If you're not like me and you have visible eyebrows normally, you want to just hold them in place. You can use a clear brow gel, you can use a tinted brow gel. For the tinted brow gels, this is a good one. This is the e.l.f. Wow Brow. This is a tinted fiber brow gel. So it's got a little bit of color to it, and it has little fibers in the formula that stick to the hairs, right? So that they kind of give the appearance of more fullness and length to the eyebrow. So that's a good way to go to get started as a beginner. If you need a little bit more fill-in of some extra spots, so today I have on the brow gel and a brow pencil to fill in any gaps. So this is a brow pencil that I like. This is the Winky Lux Unibrow. It's a universal color brow pencil. Depending on the pressure that you use to apply it, it will give you different shades of color. It's kind of a neutral taupey brown, right? And you can go from a lighter to a darker color. So you have the color on one end, and on the other, you have a spoolie for grooming the brows. So eyebrows, it depends on your brows, but you need to use either your liner brush and an eyeshadow to fill them in, or you need to use a brow gel, or you need to use a pencil, or a combination of one of those three. Okay, so the next step after eyebrows is going to be the color on my face. So blush and bronzer, highlighter, all those things. For that, as a beginner, I would recommend getting a face palette. Now I've seen quite a few of these around. You'll find palettes that have a blush, a bronzer, and a highlighter in it like this. So you can see there's 3 different colors. I've seen them in several different brands, so I'm sure you can find one if you can't find this specific one. This is the Physicians Formula Butter Glow Face Palette. I believe I got this at Ulta, maybe it was Target. But I really like Physicians Formula blushes and bronzers. They're my favorite formula, or one of my favorite formulas. I like a lot of them. But you've got your bronzer here, you've got your blush here, and you've got your highlight here. So you have 3 things that you can play with. The cool part about these also is that you can also use them as eyeshadows, which is fun. So play with that and experiment with that. And then of course you'll need your applicator, your tools, your brushes in order to apply this. That's a good option there for the blush. Now for finishing, you don't have to finish it in any way, whether with a powder or a setting spray or any of those other things that you may have heard of. You can just do those things and be done. Some people like something to finish everything off. Some people are very oily and so they need something to help control the oils. Sometimes you need to put something down on top of your creamy liquid foundation in order to put the powder, blush, or bronzer on top of it. So I would recommend a translucent powder. As a beginner, I would recommend a pressed version rather than a loose version. It's a little bit easier to work with and to get small amounts of product with, right, in a pressed version. Once you get the hang of that one, then move up to a loose powder. Loose powders are fabulous. So the 2 translucent powders that I like are by Boots number 7. So we have here the Translucent Perfect Light Pressed Powder and the Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Finishing Powder in the color Light. So this one comes in different colors, but they're fairly translucent. There's really not a whole lot of color to them. And then this one is just translucent, right? This one comes with its own puff, which I just dropped on the floor. This one does not, so you would need an applicator for this one as opposed to this one. For finishing, that's what I would recommend, is some kind of translucent pressed powder that you can then apply lightly under the eye to set your under eye concealer, down the center of the face, you know, the T-zone where you get really oily, where you think you need it. I do not encourage baking or excessive use of powder or anything like that, especially for a beginner. It's a much more advanced technique and it can easily go very wrong. So save that one till you get the basics down, right? So we have our setting powder here that's going in our kit. And then last we have lips. So as a beginner, I would recommend a sheer formula for lipstick. As you are venturing into putting more color on your lips, start with sheer formulas. So a few options you have tinted balms like these. This is a Burt's Bees and a chapstick, just tinted lip balms. That's a great option to go with. You have formulas like this Revlon lipstick. This is their new Shine formula. It's a very sheer formula. It's really nice. This is the glazed mauve color. Let me get that in front of the camera for you there so you can see it. That's that color. You can see it's very sheer. It's not a solid amount of color. I'll show you what I mean by that. These are the e.l.f. Sheer Slick. Yeah, Sheer Slick colors. They have a bit more pigment to them than most. So like this dragon fruit color, which is one of the ones I'm wearing today. Put it right next to that Revlon one. But you can see the texture of it. See how this sheer formula, that you can kind of see my skin through the color, whereas this one you can't, if that makes sense. So still though, this is a very sheer hydrating formula. None of these are going to be long wear lipsticks. This is just a beginner's kind of, you can reapply as much as you want throughout the day. They're easy to get off, they're easy to put on. It's a good place to start to have some lipsticks or tinted lip balms like that in your kit. So for the product, that's everything in our little makeup bag here. So a nice cute makeup bag to store it in is always fun, right? That's a good way to store it all. And as you can see, you don't need a big one. You don't need a lot, right? It all fits in here. So now we move on to tools. Let me get that lipstick off my hand before I make a mess. Okay, so makeup tools. I already mentioned the sharpener. Another thing I would recommend would be a Velour Puff. So this is a fuzzy powder puff, right? It's squishy. There's like a sponge inside, and then the outside is this fuzzy material, right? Looks like this one is by e.l.f. Eyes, Lips, Face. You can find these all over the place. I like this for blending, for applying powder, for cleanup around the eyes. It's a very versatile thing to have in your tool kit. So that's the first thing. For brushes. So as a basic brush set, you need five brushes. That's all you need. I have a few of the ones that I would recommend as far as brand wise, but I didn't want to go out and buy a whole bunch of new brushes that I don't need to show you because I have a lot of brushes. But let's start with the eye brushes. You need 3 eye brushes. You need some kind of fluffy eyeshadow brush, right? This is another example of a fluffy eyeshadow brush. So you can see that these are similar in size, right? They're fluffy. They're a little bit tapered at the tip. They're not too flat. They're not super stiff, and they're not all floppy. As far as the size, use your fingernails as a guide. So for something that's covering everything on the lid, like these, like we would use for these, you don't want to go any bigger than the width of your thumbnail, right? So I would want it to fit in there. Does that make sense? The width of it, see how that is? Or you can do like your middle finger. That's probably a better size gauge. That's how big you want the brush to be, right? And not too wide this way. You can see that the ferrule here of the brush, this is called the ferrule, is pinched to flatten the brush out this way, and it's wider this way. And then it's tapered here, right? So that you can get different blending with that. So you want one of those. The second brush that you are going to want for your eyes is going to be a tapered brush. They're often called blending brushes, crease brushes, look for names like that. So this one is going to be, it's a little bit longer than that other brush. It's very pointed. You can see it comes to a point here. It's a round shape on the ferrule, right? It's not squeezed flat. It's a round shape, right? So that really gets in the crease there to apply and then blend the color out with these tapers here, with the layers of the brush hairs. And again, you don't want to go any bigger than your fingernail, right? I mean, I have some fake nails on right now, so they're longer than they usually are. But even if you just guide from the base of your fingernail to the end of your finger, you don't want them much longer than that, than your finger and the end of your finger from to the base to your cuticle, right? Did that make any sense? Or was it just rambling? Use your fingernails to judge the size of where they should be so you can see how that compares, right? You don't want it to be too big because then it just makes a muddy mess on your eye. Especially if you have hooded or small eyes, you want to go smaller with your brush so that you can get a more precise application. So that's the second brush that you need. The third brush is some kind of liner brush. Now you can go with a flat brush, an angled brush, or what they call a smudge brush. An angled one or a double-ended one like this, I find the most useful. So it's got an angle on one side. You can see that it's very narrow, right? Small, not too long. We don't want it floppy. And it's got this angle to the cut of the brush here. You see that? You're going to use that for liner along the lash line, smudging things along the lash line like I did in this eye look. The spoolie on the other end I find handy for brows and to separate lashes. So if you can find a double-ended one, it's a bonus, right? So those are the 3 eye brushes that you need. A fluffy shadow brush, a tapered crease brush, and a flat or angled liner brush. Yeah? So these 3. That's the kind of brushes that you want to look for. As far as brands, Real Techniques is an amazing brush line. They have fantastic brushes and they have some great sets that you can find just what you're looking for. Eco Tools is another really good one. Elf is kind of hit and miss with their brushes. Some of their brushes I've had have just fallen apart as soon as the first time I used them. Some of them just fell apart after like a month and washing it a couple of times. I mean, so the ones I would recommend would be like Eco Tools or Real Techniques. Those are your best bet as far as the lower price points go. There's a lot of brushes out there that you can spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on that are fantastic, but as a beginner, start small. Real Techniques and Eco Tools are good ones. Now for the face, what you want is 2 fluffy brushes. You want a bigger one for the bigger parts of the face, right? So you're going to use this for bronzer, you're going to use this for powder all over the face, you can use it for blush, you can use this for all kinds of things. So you can see the size of that head. See how it fits in the palm of my hand? It's about the size of a small egg. Okay, and you can see how tapered it is. It's very tapered and layered in all those brush hairs so that you get a really nice blend. This is a Real Techniques brush. They call this their blush brush, but I really like it for bronzer and everything really. It's the 400 is the number of this brush. So that's a really good one. So a big fluffy face brush, and then you also want a small fluffy face brush. Fluffy face brush. That was hard to say. So this one is the Real Techniques. They call it their setting brush. I don't know if it has a number. I don't see one on here. But I like to use this for blush, for very precise blush. I like to use it for highlight. I like to use it to set the under eye, for very precision applications of powder around the face, that kind of thing. So 2 brushes, a big fluffy brush and a smaller fluffy brush. Those are the 2 face brushes you need. So 5 brushes total that you need, right, in your little tool kit. Those are the 5 that you need to have. And then I like to just put them in, this is just a pencil case. I like to keep my brushes separate from my makeup products so that they don't get each other dirty, right? So this is just a pencil case that I keep my brushes in. So now we have all of our products in one case and we have our tools in the other. And those are the tools together. Okay, so some bonus things that I would recommend. You want to keep your brushes clean. Ideally, you would clean them every time you use them, but let's be realistic. How many of us are really going to do that? So try and do it at least once a week. You know, like pick a day where you sit down and watch some YouTube videos and just clean your brushes. You're going to want a good brush shampoo in order to clean your brushes and keep the hairs of the brushes nice and clean and lasting as long as possible, right? So you can use, I like a bar soap, like Castile soap. You often see it in liquid form, but it comes in a bar also. Those are really good for cleaning brushes. They'll especially get like lipsticks and things like that out of the brush hairs if you ever use a lip brush. So a bar would be really good. Another one that I like, this is the Sonia Kashuk Makeup Brush and Sponge Shampoo. That's another good makeup brush line, is Sonia Kashuk makes some really good brushes. I'll link all of these that I'm recommending down below. This is their brush shampoo, so you're going to want some of this to clean your tools, okay? The last thing is removing your makeup. I am not a fan of makeup remover wipes. They are very harsh. Many of them contain a lot of alcohol, so they're not very good for your skin. And you tend to have to use a lot of them in order to get any kind of makeup off. What I like to use instead is a reusable cloth like this one. This one is made by Makeup Eraser, but there's a lot of these around. So it's a microfiber cloth, right? So you have a short nap on one side and then a longer nap on the other side, right? These are really good at removing makeup. You only need warm water and this, and you can take off all of your makeup. If you are wearing waterproof liner or mascara or anything, you will need a little bit more of a cleanser. In that case, I like a cleansing oil or cleansing balm. Don't use straight kitchen oils, like don't use straight olive oil, don't use straight coconut oil. They're not formulated for use on the skin and you will get irritation and a lot of breakouts. You want to find a formula in the store that's formulated for your skin that contains an oil, a cleansing balm, an eye makeup remover. Almay makes a really good eye makeup remover. Neutrogena makes one that you can just put on this cloth and use this cloth with that makeup remover to get your makeup off and then cleanse your face, right? This is not the cleaning step. This is just getting the makeup off step. Cleansing is different. That's why I didn't include this in the skincare part. So I recommend these makeup remover cloths. Google them. You can find some on Amazon. You can find them at the store. Makeup remover cloth, reusable makeup remover cloth. I highly recommend these over a cleansing wipe. They're much better for your skin, and you can just wash these, throw them in the washing machine, and use them over and over and over again. So there is our kit. I'll show you here on my little tray, right? We have our makeup bag, we have our tools, we have our shampoo, we've got our little makeup remover wipe. That is our kit for applying makeup. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I will be posting videos on how to apply each one of these things each step of the way. I will have videos coming in the next few weeks on how to apply all of these products, so take a look out for those so you can follow along. I thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a great day.